Hey everybody, it's Ryan. I'm down in my basement. Today is April the 12th, 2020. Happy Easter to everybody. Wanted to talk today about John Prine passing away and my own personal little eulogy, I guess you could call it, for him. So, for the occasion, I've got my John Prine Let's Talk Dirty in Hawaiian t shirt. Yes, it may be inappropriate for the moment, but I think John would get a kick out of that, seeing as he'd like that kind of a sense of humor. And I've got a Handsome Johnny here for Mr. Prine as a tribute. He liked vodka and ginger ale, and he called it a Handsome Johnny, and that's what I'm drinking tonight, so cheers. Um, I guess I wanted to do this just for myself, just to pay tribute to a man who given me a lot of joy and great music over the years. Um, I've listened to his music for over 30 years now, and never met him, but I felt like I knew him through his music. I felt like he knew me to some degree through the truth and insights of his own song lyrics. And I felt like if I ever did meet him, he could sit down and we could have a really nice conversation and just be relaxed about it, have a good conversation. My thoughts and support go out to his wife Fiona and their kids, and band members and all their family and friends, of course. I'd like to open this with a poem by William Wordsworth that I think speaks to the moment. Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower, we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind. Thanks to the human heart by which we live, thanks to its tenderness, its joys and fears, to me the meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that do often lie too deep for tears. I saw John in concert a handful of times over the years. I've listened to his music since I was a freshman in college at Eastern Illinois. Based on my observations of him, John always seemed to be a very kind man, down to earth man, a decent man, and a humble man. He always seemed to have a twinkle in his eye. He always seemed to put people at ease and made them feel like they were special, like they were sharing a secret of some sort, like good old friends. His lyrics were sparse and exact and imaginative and painted a picture like no other artist. His lyrics were insightful, philosophical, funny, sometimes outrageously funny, and bawdy, serious, and sometimes all those wrapped up in one or two sentences within the same song. He was empathetic to every single one of his characters he created, never judging or turning his nose, just the cold, hard stare of the realities of their lives. I read recently that John said, writing is about a blank piece of paper and leaving out what's not supposed to be there. I've read the flood of thoughts and tributes that have flowed out of all the musicians who either knew him, worked with him, or just loved him. I've not seen or heard one negative word by anyone in all the time I've read about him. One piece that was written recently by Jason Isbell, one of the best musicians and songwriters working today, and one of the countless artists inspired by John Prine, including others like Casey Musgraves, Margo Price, Sturgill Simpson, Brandy Carlisle. You could go on and on with all the current artists that were inspired by John, as well as those that were inspired by him throughout the last 50 years. Jason wrote a piece in the New York Times, and in it he said, of all the things I love about John's songwriting, my favorite is the way he could step so completely into someone else's life. John had the gift and the curse of great empathy. In songs like Hello in There and Angel from Montgomery, he wrote from a perspective clearly very different from his own. An old man and a middle-aged woman, but he kept the first-person point of view. He wrote those songs and the rest of his incredible debut album while a young man working as a letter carrier in Chicago. Angel from Montgomery opens with the line, I am an old woman, named after my mother. I remember hearing this in 1971, recording of this song for the first time and thinking, no, you're not. Then a light bulb went on. And I realized that songwriting allows you to be anybody you want to be so long as you get the details right. John always got the details right. If the artist's job is to hold a mirror up to society, John had the cleanest mirror of anyone I've ever known. Sometimes it seemed like he had a window and he would climb right through. In a piece written for Rolling Stone, Iris DeMent a fantastic musician and singer and songwriter in her own right. She's worked with John countless times, did a lot of duets with him over the years, and I think she gets to the crux of what most of us that are missing John at this time feel. The quality about John that keeps coming up in the forefront of my mind might be best summed up by something Nelson Mandela once said. It never hurts to think too highly of a person. Often they become ennobled and act better because of it. We all know that John ennobled the characters in his songs. Any of us lucky enough to have seen one of his shows knows he also did this for his audience. I, for one, happen to know that he did it at truck stops and Dairy Queens, too. John was one of the all-time great ennoblers of others. Some years ago, I placed a call to my now dear friend, Reverend Samuel E. Mann. I told him I wanted to join his church, but that I did not take the Bible literally, and I didn't want to say I believed a bunch of things I didn't so I could be part of a group. To which Sam replied, "We do not believe in a magic Jesus. Jesus lived his life loving and caring for the least of these." That was a miracle, and it was enough. John Prine was without a doubt one of the greatest songwriters this world will ever know. Many people more qualified than me have written about why that is, and many more will follow. Greatest or not, here's what it comes down to for me, and here's why he rests on my heart's mountaintop. Because he cared enough to look at me, you, all of us, until he saw what was noble, and then wrapped it up in melodies and sung it back to ourselves. That was the miracle of John Prine, and it was enough. As part of my thoughts, I'd like to tell you my favorite top 10 songs of John's. I think most people can universally agree that songs like Sam Stone, Hello in There, Angels of Montgomery, Spanish Pipe Dream, they all rank up there in the top for most people. And the hard thing about it is the quality of his work is just staggering, and to come up with a top 10 list is like virtually impossible. And it's not necessary, but for my purposes here, I just wanted to throw you my 10 favorite songs. In the past week, in many of the pieces that were written, most of the talk is of John's early material, and no doubt about it, his first album was solid from start to finish, along with other albums from the 70s. But I think one of the most incredible things about John is how strong his material was from start to finish over a 50-year career, including his last album, The Tree of Forgiveness, released in 2018. I'm going to list the songs one by one. Hopefully, maybe for some of you, some of these are unknown to you, and you can check them out when you have time. I'll give you a few lines from each, and I may even sing along. If you're watching this, feel free to sing along with me from the comfort of your living room, couch, or bedroom as we all hunker down for extended social distancing. I am not much of a singer, but even John joked about his own voice. When John developed cancer on his neck in 1998, which required major surgery and radiation, his doctor told him he might never be able to sing again. John said, "Doc, you've never heard me sing. Don't worry about it." All right, for number 10, recently I was reading a story about this song, and John released it in 1973 on a Sweet Revenge album. And Elvis was playing a concert one night, and he ran out of steam, as he sometimes would, and he'd have the other band members kind of go around the stage and take a song, and then he'd sing a song, and they'd come back, and let him take a breather for a while on his nights that he wasn't doing great. Eventually got around to a guy named Duke Bardwell, who was the fill-in bass player from time to time when Jerry Schiff wasn't around. And the band members cajoled him into playing a song. And so he grabbed a guitar and he played John Prine's song, "Please Don't Bury Me." And Duke thought Elvis would be mad because of the phrase "kiss my ass" was in the song. And, normally they're singing a lot of gospel songs, and Kathy Westmoreland singing their solo about how great thou art and other things. But lo and behold, Elvis loved it and laughed. And after the show, he sent a note to have Duke Bardwell come up to his dressing or his hotel room and bring his guitar and play for it. And Duke said he played it once, and Elvis laughed, and he just kept asking him to play it again and again and again. And Duke said eventually he probably played it 20, 25 times. But, he's tired of it. But what was he going to do? Tell Elvis Presley no? All right. So here's the lyrics from "Please Don't Bury Me." "Please don't bury me down in that cold, cold ground. I'd rather have 'em cut me up and pass me all around. Throw my brain in a hurricane, and the blind can have my eyes, and the deaf can take both of my ears if they don't mind the size. Send my mouth way down south and kiss my ass goodbye." Number 9, this is Boundless Love from his 2005 release, Fair and Square. Cheers to you. Sometimes my old heart is like a washing machine. It bounces around till my soul comes clean. And when I'm clean and hung out to dry, I'm going to make you laugh until you cry. Perfect moment of a Prine song, just taking something basic, mundane, daily life of a washing machine and making a pretty poignant comment. Number 8 is 6 o'clock news. This is very much in the same vein as Elvis's In the Ghetto, with its story and beginning and outcome. And John probably saw this on a regular basis while he was living in Chicago, delivering the mail in the area. It's one of his darkest songs, but it's pretty dead on and accurate and poignant. Wanda had a baby in 1951. The father was a stranger, and a stranger was the son. Call that child James Lewis, call these rooms a home. Changing all them diapers, polish all that chrome. The whole town saw Jimmy on the 6 o'clock news. His brains were on the sidewalk and blood was on his shoes. Come on, baby, spend a night with me. Number 7, Summer's In from Tree of Forgiveness, which was John's last album, released in 2018. I think maybe John knew that it might be his last album, not for sure, but possibility. If you listen to the album, the songs, the themes, and the emotions that are running through the album, it seems pretty clear that he, maybe thought he was writing his last songs, recording his last songs. 2 of my top 10 are from this album. I think they're just as strong as some of the stuff he did at the very beginning. Well, you never know how far from home you're feeling until you watch the shadows cross the ceiling. Well, I don't know, but I can see it snowing. In your car, the windows are wide open. Just come on home. Come on home. No, you don't have to be alone. Just come on home. Number 6, In Spite of Ourselves. Great duet with Iris DeMent on In Spite of Ourselves album, released in the late 90s. John wrote this song and he sent it to Iris DeMent, who was one of his favorites. And he said, hey, Iris, this is a song for you and me. Give me a call when you're ready to play. And he hadn't heard from her for a while, so he calls her up and says, Iris, did you get that song I sent you? Yeah. Well, are you ready to sing it? And she said, not while my mom was alive, because of some of the lyrics that he had in here. She didn't think her mom would be over appreciative of it. He's got more balls than a big brass monkey, a whacked out weirdo and a love bug junkie. Sly as a fox, crazy as a loon, payday comes and he's a howling at the moon. He's my baby, I don't mean maybe, I'm never gonna let him go. In spite of ourselves, we'll end up sitting on a rainbow. Against all odds, honey, we're the big door prize. We're gonna spite our noses right off of our faces. There won't be nothing but a big old hearts dancing in our eyes. Number 5, He Was in Heaven Before He Died. John wrote this one about his dad's passing, and every time I read this, the lyrics get to me and reminds me to tell the people around me that I love them more often, as we all should. The sun can play tricks with your eyes on the highway. The moon can lay sideways till the ocean stands still. But a person can't tell his best friend he loves him till time has stopped breathing and you're alone on the hill. Number 4, Long Monday. Perfect example of the visuals that he gives you, and it's almost like you're listening to the song, listen to the lyrics, and you can just picture it in your mind. It's like you're watching it on a movie screen in a theater. This is off the Fair and Square album that was released in 2005, I believe. You and me, sitting in the back of my memory, like a honeybee, buzzing around a glass of sweet Chablis. Radio's on, my windows rolled up and my mind's rolled down. Headlights shining like silver moons rolling on the ground. It's gonna be a long Monday, sitting all alone on a mountain at a river that has no end. It's gonna be a long Monday, stuck like the tick of a clock that's come unwound again. Number 3, When I Get to Heaven. This is the last song on Tree of Forgiveness. John's career in the early years got a big boost when Chicago Sun-Times columnist Roger Ebert stopped into the Fifth Peg on the north side of Chicago for a drink, and just happened to be John was up there playing a set. Ebert was really blown away, and even though he wasn't a music critic by any means, he wrote up a review and gave it to his editor, and they ran it. And right after that, John started getting a lot of attention. John and Steve Goodman, famous Chicago musician, songwriter, City of New Orleans, uh, Go Cubs Go, a lot of other stuff. They were buddies, and so Ebert gave him a big review that really helped him out. And then later there was a guy named John Seagraves who covered one of John's shows in Washington in about 1975, and he wrote a negative review that included this line: "In the main, he's about as entertaining as a dog bite." John famously taped this review up in his bathroom, claiming it was the perfect place for such writing. John got the last laugh by describing that special someone, that special critic, as a syphilitic parasitic, which he got from Amanda Shires. She was looking at her phone and had this app up on her phone. He just happened to walk by, and he saw that and loved that lyric, so he threw it in there. So here we go. "When I get to heaven, I'm going to shake God's hand, thank him for more blessings than one man can stand. Then I'm going to get a guitar and start a rock and roll band. Check into a swell hotel. Ain't the afterlife grand? And then I'm going to get a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale. Yeah, I'm going to smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long. I'm going to kiss that pretty girl on the tilt-a-whirl, 'cause this old man is going to town." Number 2, souvenirs. John has said that the first time he played on stage, it was an open mic night, and he didn't really want to get up there, but some friends of his told him to quit talking about it and get up there. So he got up there and played, I think it was Hello in There, Sam Stone, and Angel. And right afterwards, the owner came up to him, offered him a job, and John said, "Well, that's good. How long do I have to play?" And the guy said, "Well, 60 minutes each set." Well, he didn't have enough material for that, so he went home and, in essence, wrote the song "Souvenirs" as filler material. And most musicians would probably give an arm and a leg to write one song like "Souvenirs" in a career, much less as a placeholder for material. So here we go. All the snow has turned to water. Christmas days have come and gone. Broken toys and faded colors are all that's left to linger on. I hate graveyards and old pawn shops, for they always bring me tears. I can't forgive the way they robbed me of my childhood souvenirs. Memories that can't be bought, and they can't be won at carnivals for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how they slipped away from me. All right. Cheers. Trust me, we're getting down to the end here, so just hang with me. Number 1, I'm going to go with Lake Marie. Bob Dylan has said that John was one of his favorite songwriters working today, and then went on to say, "Prine stuff is pure Proustian existentialism. Midwestern mind trips to the nth degree." I think Lake Marie is probably one of John's closest to Bob Dylan song, possibly. He does some talking blues, and then he does a loud chorus showstopper. And when he played this in concert, everybody kind of played along with it, like a Rocky Horror Picture Show type situation, and had certain phrases and words that we'd all call out. "The police had found 2 bodies in the woods. Nay, naked bodies. Their faces had been horribly disfigured by some sharp object. Saw it on the news, on the TV news, in a black and white video. You know what blood looks like on black and white video, don't you? Shadows. Shadows! That's exactly what it looks like. All the love we shared between her and me was slammed up against the banks of old Lake Marie. We were standing by peaceful waters. Whoa, oh, how happy. Whoa, oh, how happy. Standing by peaceful waters. Ah, baby, we gotta go now. Standing by peaceful waters." All right, so thanks for watching this and listening today as I paid my respects to a giant of an artist and a great human being who made the world a better place with his art and his earthly existence. I'd like to close out with this from Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. "I depart as air. I bequeath myself to the dirt to grow from the grass that I love. If you want to see me again, look for me under your boot soles. You will hardly know who I am or what I mean, but I shall bring good health to you nevertheless. Failing to fetch me at first, keep encouraged. Missing me one place, search another. I stop somewhere, waiting for you. John Prine may be gone from the physical world, but his songs and lyrics and the beauty of the music will forever remain, as long as music is being written, recorded, and sung for audiences. His music will live on in the music of all those he inspired to pick up a guitar and sing and write songs. Generations from now, his spirit will still be in the air, and people will know the name of John Prine. Wherever you are, Mr. Prine, I hope you're standing by a lake on the border of northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. And I hope that there's 4 Italian sausages sizzling on the grill. I hope that you are strumming a guitar. I hope that you're smoking a cigarette that's 9 miles long. I hope you're drinking a Handsome Johnny, or maybe an old Milwaukee or a Schlitz. And I hope that you're gazing out at peaceful waters, thinking about going fishing for a couple nice sized bass, or fishing for a new set of lyrics. We thank you and we love you, and we'll see you further on up the road. Thank you, sir.